Welcome back, family. All right, this is part two to my Black Love series, Ermias and Lauren London Celebrity Love Series reading. Leading off of the last reading, so yes, Lauren has begun distancing herself from a lot of people. She doesn't trust anyone. She knows that this was an inside job, and she just doesn't know exactly who ordered this hit because she knows that Eric Holder is not the real trigger pointer. Okay. Also, she has been consulting his mother because his mother is a reader. His mother has abilities. His mother has spiritual gifts, and she is using these gifts to figure out what really happened to Nip. Okay, and she's keeping Lauren updated on everything because Lauren is also very spiritual as well. And she believes in spirituality. She believes in spiritual work. So she's been, her and Nip's mother has been consulting one another. And Nip's mother also speaks with her ancestors. She's very well connected to her African ancestors. Okay. So also, I feel like they were about to get married. I feel like they were engaged. Nip had proposed, Lauren had already said yes, and they were engaged, and they were planning a wedding. No one would have ever known because they were very private, and they would have never told the public right away, but they were engaged, and they were planning a wedding, you guys. Her grief is for the husband that she will never have, for the father that her kids will never know. Her heart is in complete pain. She feels like she was robbed of her husband. And she was robbed of the man that she was going to spend the rest of her life with. Okay. And she's very angry about that. She's hurt and she's angry and she feels like he was taken over some foolishness. And this could have been prevented and avoided. Because they would argue, you guys, they would have arguments, not really arguments, because Nip was a gentleman. You guys, he never called her out of her name. He would never disrespect her. He respected how she felt and what she had to say. So they would talk about it and then they would come to a decision together on how to move differently and how to make each person feel comfortable. They really had great communication. Okay, and that's one of the things that she loved about Nip because he was very vocal in his emotions. He was, when they were alone, because he also makes me feel like he's not the type to be very affectionate in public, but when they're by themselves, he's very, very open, honest, and very opens up his emotions to her. So they had great communication. Now, she feels like she was robbed of her husband, and they would have disagreements about how he would move and certain things that he would do because Nip was also very impulsive. Okay, so if he felt the type of way about something, it's no telling what he may say on national TV, on air. He was the type of boyfriend you would have to worry about what he may say to your mother if he met her. He just was not in a disrespectful way, but just a very honest and straightforward way. Okay. So I feel like she was warning him. She was warning him to be more careful about what he said in public, how he moved and the things that he did, because he came from the hood, y'all. Like he still had that hood mentality in him in a sense. And he was coming out of it as he was, and I also, wait a minute, you guys, because I also feel Tupac's energy tapping into this reading. And Pac is also telling me that him and Nip are very similar in soul and spirit. Okay. So this was a mentality that Nip had, and he was coming out of that mentality before he passed. He was coming out of the mentality of being from the hood and from the ghetto and moving in a certain type of way. And Lauren was also warning him that his star was rising, because even though Nip's star was rising and he was becoming worldwide recognized and people were finally getting on the wave of his music and things that he had going on, he still didn't see himself as a celebrity. And he still did not understand I don't think he understood how famous he was. Okay, he knew people fucked with his music, but it's almost like he said, I didn't realize how much until I passed. So Lauren would always tell him, like, be careful. People, you're starting to get a little more famous now. You're starting to get a little more publicity now. People are watching you. Be careful what you say. Be careful how you say it. Those types of things. So she was always warning him to just simply be careful, because she also knew that he was battling. Not only was he battling the industry, but he was also battling the streets. Because again, he was a Crip, and when you're a Crip, especially in LA, there's not just you're gonna walk away from it. You're a Crip for life. So he had to be mindful of things that he had done in the streets. People that he may have had beef with, people who just from his hood who were jealous and just wanted to come up off of him. So you got to worry about street shit, and you got to worry about industry shit. And all of this that was going on while still trying to maintain a relationship. But Lauren is a very understanding woman, and she never would nag him. She would never nag him about how much time he spent away from home. She would never nag him about what he was doing. She wasn't an insecure woman at all. But also Nip was the type of man that did not make her feel insecure. He really doted on her, gave her a lot of attention, made her feel extremely special and worthy. And they were just the best of friends, you guys. Like, they were very kindred spirits. Now, there was a little bit of drama from the baby mama. I want to say in the beginning of the relationship, there was some drama. Maybe in the middle of the relationship as well, there was some drama with the baby mama. But let me tell you something. Nip had no problem putting his baby mama in her place very discreetly, because he's the type of guy, he's not going to disrespect a woman, especially a woman that he loves or is like family to him, to the public. So he would have never disrespected her to anybody in the media or anything like that, but he would discreetly and privately put her in her place, because in the beginning, she would get out of hand on some he's always going to be mine type of stuff into, because Lauren won't having that, okay? She's very, my man is my man, and you stay over there, and she'll pop off, okay, about her man. So she wasn't having that. And there was even a few times where she threatened to leave. Like, look, you either handle it or I'm gone. So he handled it, okay? And he distanced himself from the baby mom as well. So whereas he may have been more friendly with her and more willing to bend and conform for her a little bit, once Lauren entered the picture, all of that ceased, okay? So even though he may have been able to go back and forth with his baby mama over the years, before he met Lauren, I get the sense that they were still messing around, just kind of like, here and there. And she cheated on him as well, you guys. So that's what really fucked that relationship up with the baby mama. She cheated, okay? And Nip is the type of man, I might can, fuck up, but you can't be out here fucking up. He's the type of man that my woman, nah, if another man can have you, he can have you. So you got one time with him and you done, okay? So that was the situation. And just they outgrew one another as well. He's telling me that him and his baby mama outgrew one another. She ain't have shit. She ain't have shit and wasn't bringing shit to the table. And they just, two different directions at the same time. So that's what happened in that relationship. Now, with the relationship with Lauren, it's nothing but love here, y'all. They love each other deeply. And she still is completely and utterly in love with Nip. And she will always, a part of her will always belong to him. She will always be in love with him. And she will look for every man that she dates, if she dates again, because she also feels like moving on. She has a guilt about that, about moving on and dating another man. So it will be years before she dates another man. And if she does date another man before that, she will be very discreet about it. So she will not be out in the public with her man. She will be very discreet and very private if she gets another man. And if she does, again, it will not be anytime soon. She still feels like she's in a relationship. She still sleeps with his clothing. She still has everything hanging just as it was the day he left. She hasn't boxed up anything. She hasn't moved anything. She still lives as if he's coming home tonight. So she really has a hard time letting him go, and because of that, she feels like she's still a woman in a relationship. She still feels like an engaged woman. And so it's hard for her to move on without feeling like she's cheating on her man. So that is why it will be a while before she gets into another relationship. Okay? But I see that there's a possibility that she will get into another relationship. But it will be years. She's very big on loyalty. Very big on loyalty. And she feels like moving on right now would just be disloyal to him. And his friends still treat her like a queen. They still treat her like she's the first lady of the organization. A lot of decisions run through her. The family still gives her the respect of being his fiance. They still consult her on things. They still ask her opinion. They still ask, let me just set this phone down, you guys, so I can